It's interesting. We've been getting a lot of questions lately about government contracts,
Hmm.
specifically GSA and VA schedules.
Yeah,
Seems like a lot of you out there are looking into this whole world.
makes sense.
It can seem pretty daunting from the outside, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All the regulations and paperwork and
Like
acronyms.
a whole different language sometimes.
But it also represents like a huge potential market,
Right.
right?
Sure,
For
entiende.
businesses of all sizes to
Yeah.
sell to federal agencies, state, even local governments.
You get on those schedules and it's like
Yeah.
you're pre-approved.
Exactly. It's like having your products or services in a giant catalog that all these government buyers can just flip through.
And they know you've met certain standards.
Yeah.
Your pricing's already set. It streamlines things.
So much less hassle than bidding on every single project.
Huge time saver.
Okay, so that brings us to today's deep dive.
All right.
We're going to look into a company called MarketUS.
Okay.
And they really caught our eye for a couple of reasons. First off, they claim to be in the top 1% of the industry when it comes to revenues for GSA contract business.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, and they're also a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business, an SDVOSB.
Ah, so they've got that veteran-owned advantage.
Exactly, and that can be a really big deal in government contracting, right?
Oh, absolutely. There are often specific set-asides and preferences for veteran-owned businesses.
So today, what we really want to do is figure out what exactly does MarketUS offer?
Yeah. What's their secret sauce?
What does their experience look like in this whole field?
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, why should you care?
Right. What's the takeaway for our listeners?
Okay, so right off the bat, MarketUS makes a pretty bold statement.
Right. Let's hear it.
They say they have over 38 years of experience in government contracting
Wow.
with a specific focus on GSA and VA schedules.
It's a long time. They must have seen it all.
Right. Think about all the changes in regulations and policies over almost 4 decades.
Different administrations, different priorities. They've probably weathered every storm.
And they emphasize this focused expertise as something that sets them apart.
Makes sense.
They're not just general business consultants. They're really zeroed in on this one specific area.
Why do you think that's so important?
Yeah.
I mean, why not just go with a generalist firm?
Well, I think it comes down to the complexity of government contracting, right? It's not just about having good business sense. It's about knowing the ins and outs of this very particular world.
The lingo, the procedures, the timelines.
Yeah.
It's all so specific.
Exactly. And a firm like MarketUS has probably seen it all, made all the mistakes, learned all the lessons.
They've got that deep practical knowledge that a generalist just wouldn't have.
And get this. They even talk about their role in the development of the technology used for the GSA schedule program.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, they say most of the automated programs used today for the GSA schedule program were beta tested by MarketUS and our technology team.
So they weren't just along for the ride. They were actually shaping the way things work.
Exactly. They were there at the ground level, helping to build the infrastructure that we use today.
That kind of historical perspective is invaluable. They understand the systems inside and out.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty.
What do they actually offer?
Right. What kind of services does MarketUS provide?
Mm.
Well, it looks like they've got a pretty wide range of options,
Okay.
which makes sense because not every business is going to have the same needs.
Of course.
Some are going to be totally new to this, some might have some experience, some are bigger, some are smaller.
So they need different levels of support, different approaches.
Exactly. So let's start with the most hands-off option, the full-service GSA contract.
Okay, what does that entail?
Well, it's basically a done-for-you service.
Nice.
They use their latest technology to handle the whole application process.
From start to finish.
Yep, all the paperwork, all the submissions.
And I'm guessing there's some ongoing support too.
You bet. They include a full year of support.
So for someone who's totally clueless about GSA, this would be a good way to go.
Oh, absolutely. You just hand over the reins and let the experts take care of it.
And you get to focus on running your business.
Exactly. No need to stress about all the technicalities.
Okay, what else do they have?
Well, then there's the done-for-you GSA contract.
Sounds similar.
It is, but it's positioned as a more cost-effective option.
Okay, how so?
Well, they still use our technology for the application process, but the support after the first year is optional.
So you get that initial hand-holding, but then you're on your own after a year, unless you want to pay extra for support.
Exactly. So it's kind of a middle ground.
Right, for businesses that want the expert help up front, but feel confident they can manage things themselves later on.
Or maybe they're just watching their budget a little more closely.
Makes sense.
And then they have the do-it-yourself GSA contract.
So for the truly independent types.
Yep, this one's all about saving money. And they say it can potentially lead to a faster application submission, too.
If you know what you're doing, I guess.
Right, because you're not waiting on anyone else.
But what are the risks of going DIY? Even with their guidance, it sounds like you could really mess things up if you're not careful.
Oh, definitely. There's a much higher chance of errors or omissions.
And with government contracts, those mistakes can be costly.
Absolutely. So you really got to be sure you're up for the challenge if you go this route.
Right. What other services do they offer?
Well, they also have a service for businesses that already have a GSA contract.
Okay.
It's called GSA Contract Modifications.
So for making changes to an existing contract,
Exactly.
that can be a real pain, I've heard.
Oh, yeah. Even a small change can trigger a whole cascade of paperwork.
And if you don't do it right, you could jeopardize your whole contract.
So MarketUS offers a year of support specifically for modifications.
So they'll hold your hand through the whole process.
Yep, make sure everything's done by the book.
That's got to be worth its weight in gold for some businesses.
For sure.
What else?
Now, this one's a little different. Live stream production.
Live stream. What do they mean by that?
Well, they basically offer a platform for businesses to present their products or services online.
Like a webinar kind of thing.
Yeah, but specifically geared towards government buyers.
Interesting. So it's a way to connect with potential customers directly.
Exactly. And do product demos, answer questions, really showcase what you have to offer.
That's smart, especially in this digital age.
And then last but not least, they have a full-service VA contract.
Okay, so that's their equivalent of the full-service GSA contract, but for VA contracts.
Exactly, same deal. Done-for-you application process, a year of support, the whole 9 yards.
So they really cover both GSA and VA.
Yep, they're all about helping businesses work with these two major federal entities.
Makes sense.
Okay, so let's step back for a second.
All right.
Why should any business, let's say your business, even consider getting a GSA or VA schedule contract in the first place?
Good question.
Well, MarketUS highlights a few key benefits.
Let's hear them.
First off, they talk about the access these contracts give you to a massive network of government buyers.
Right. It's not just the federal government. It's also state and local agencies.
Exactly. It's a huge potential market that you might not be able to reach otherwise.
And it's not just about the size of the market. It's also about the way these contracts work.
How so?
Well, they really streamline the whole procurement process.
For both the seller and the buyer, right?
Exactly.
Instead of going through those lengthy competitive bids for every single opportunity.
You've already got a contract in place.
So it's just a matter of fulfilling orders.
It's like a shortcut to doing business with the government.
And that can save businesses so much time and money.
Not to mention headaches.
And MarketUS makes another really important point.
What's that?
They say these contracts give you a certain level of credibility.
I can see why.
You've already been vetted by the government. You've met their standards.
It's a stamp of approval.
Exactly. And that makes government agencies much more likely to do business with you.
Because they know they can trust you.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about small businesses?
Yeah. Is this even realistic for a smaller company?
I mean, it sounds like a lot of work, a lot of bureaucracy.
Well, MarketUS addresses this directly.
Okay, good.
They say, and I quote, "Absolutely. We specialize in helping businesses of all sizes, including small businesses."
So size doesn't matter.
Not to them. They're all about finding the right solution for each individual business.
And they understand the unique challenges that small businesses face.
Right. They know how to navigate that world.
Okay, but let's talk proof.
You mean results?
Yeah, do they actually deliver?
Well, MarketUS has a whole section of client testimonials on their website.
All right, let's hear some stories.
So first up, we have Clearly IP.
Okay.
They're a company that acquired another company that already had a GSA contract.
That can get complicated.
Yeah, they needed to figure out how to meet the existing contract requirements and also add their own products to the contract.
So they needed help fast.
Exactly. And they specifically mentioned a guy named Michael Price from MarketUS,
Yep.
who guided them through the whole process.
GSA, SAM registration, contract novation,
Yeah.
all that fun stuff.
Yep. He even helped them get their own products approved by the GSA.
Sounds like you really went above and beyond.
Yeah, they were really happy with his availability and diligence.
That's a great example of how expert help can really make a difference in a tricky situation.
For sure.
What else?
Next up, we have DB Consulting.
Okay.
They had a real nightmare scenario.
Oh,
There was a discrepancy between a paper offer and an electronic offer for a contract.
that's a crisis.
Yeah, and MarketUS came in and helped them find a solution.
So they saved the day.
Basically, yeah. And because of that, DB Consulting was able to get an IT-70 schedule.
Which is?
Oh, sorry. It's a specific GSA schedule for information technology services. And once they had that schedule, they were able to bid on a $75 million government opportunity.
Wow, so their intervention directly led to a huge potential win.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Right?
Yeah.
Then we have List Industries.
Right.
They were really impressed with the recommendations and insights they got from MarketUS.
Throughout the whole GSA proposal process.
Yep. They felt like MarketUS really went the extra mile to help them craft a winning proposal.
And at a reasonable cost?
Exactly. They felt like they were getting great value for their money.
That's always a good feeling.
Yeah.
Who else do they mention?
Well, there's Total Media.
Okay.
They really appreciated the hand-holding they got from MarketUS.
Marks and Holding.
Yeah. They felt like MarketUS was there every step of the way to answer their questions and guide them through the process.
So they didn't feel lost or overwhelmed.
Exactly. And they were able to get their GSA schedule much faster than they thought they could on their own.
That time savings can be huge.
And they even mentioned that the team was professional, but also fun to work with.
That's a bonus.
Makes the whole process a little less painful.
Definitely.
Then there's Win Laboratories.
Okay.
They've been a client of MarketUS for a long time.
One of the early adopters.
Yeah, and they attribute their long-term success in the federal marketplace to MarketUS' never-quit attitude.
So it's not just about getting the initial contract. It's about ongoing support and partnership.
Exactly. They felt like MarketUS was truly invested in their success.
That's the kind of relationship you want.
For sure.
What other testimonials stand out?
Well, there's AFCOM.
Okay.
They were really happy with their GSA award.
Understandably so.
And they specifically thanked MarketUS for their patience, their humor, and their expertise.
Sounds like a good team.
Yeah, they made the whole process, which can feel impossible, seem manageable.
And successful, clearly.
Yep, and AVCOM has even recommended MarketUS to other businesses.
That's a good sign.
A really good sign.
Okay, who else?
Well, we also hear from a veteran business owner named Bob Hesser. He runs a company called Vetrapreneur.
Catchy name.
And he's been working with MarketUS for over 14 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, and he's been really successful thanks to their help with his GSA IT schedule.
So it's a testament to their long-term impact.
Exactly. And he also mentioned that MarketUS offers a discount to returning disabled veterans.
That's really cool. They're putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to supporting veterans.
Yeah, it's great to see.
What other stories do they share?
Well, Top Priority Care Services talked about how much they learned about the GSA process from working with MarketUS.
So it's not just about getting the contract. It's about gaining knowledge and understanding.
Exactly. They felt empowered by the experience.
That's valuable.
Yeah.
What else?
Then there's KE Software.
Okay.
They were really happy with the speed and efficiency of the whole process.
Time is money.
Yep. And they appreciated MarketUS expertise in software licensing and pricing, which can be really complicated when it comes to government contracts.
So they had that specialized knowledge.
Who else?
Well, there's LJT and Associates, Inc.
Okay.
They had a unique situation. They were graduating from the SBA's 8A program.
That's a program for small disadvantaged businesses, right?
Yep. And MarketUS helped them navigate the transition to regular government contracting.
Which can be tough.
Oh, yeah. And they specifically mentioned how MarketUS helped them maximize their cash flow during that period.
That's crucial for any business, but especially during a transition like that.
Absolutely.
What other testimonials did they have?
Well, then there's Dan Source's Technical Services, Inc.
Okay.
They've been working with MarketUS for over 15 years.
Wow, another long-term relationship?
Yeah, and during that time, MarketUS has helped them win a lot of business through GSA contracts.
So they've got a proven track record.
Definitely. And Dan Source's Technical Services specifically praised MarketUS' persistence in getting things done.
Government bureaucracy can be a real beast.
Oh, yeah. So it's helpful to have someone who's not afraid to fight for you.
And navigate all the red tape.
Any other interesting stories?
Yeah, there's Ameritech.
Okay.
They appreciated MarketUS' ability to navigate the political games that sometimes come up in government contracting.
So they understand the unspoken rules.
Yep. They know how to work the system.
That can be just as important as knowing the official rules.
Absolutely.
What else?
And finally, there's Total Gym.
Okay.
They were grateful for MarketUS help in dealing with GSA delays.
Which are inevitable, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Even with the best help, things can get bogged down.
So it's good to have someone who can manage those frustrations.
And advocate for you.
Exactly.
So to wrap up this whole testimonial section,
What's the overall takeaway?
well, it's clear that MarketUS has helped a lot of different businesses across a variety of industries achieve success with GSA and VA contracts.
They've got the experience, the expertise, and the client feedback to back up their claims.
Exactly. They're the real deal.
And they're not just focused on getting you the contract, they're also invested in your long-term success.
Yep. They're true partners.
That's important.
And they even have some stats on their website.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, they don't give specific numbers, but they mention having B+ in contract awards.
Billions with a B.
Yep, so their clients have collectively won billions of dollars worth of government business.
That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
So overall, it seems like MarketUS is a reputable company with a strong track record.
Definitely, they're a serious player in the government contracting space.
And they offer a valuable service to businesses of all sizes.
Whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for years.
They can help you navigate the complexities of GSA and VA contracts.
And potentially unlock a whole new world of opportunity.
Absolutely.
So for our listeners out there,
Yeah.
as you're exploring the world of government contracts, we really encourage you to think about the benefits we've discussed today.
The streamlined processes, the access to a vast network of buyers, the expert guidance.
And ask yourself, could pursuing a GSA or VA contract be a strategic move for your business?
It's definitely worth considering.
It could be the key to taking your business to the next level.
So what are you waiting for? Start your research today.
And who knows, maybe MarketUS could be the partner you need to make it happen.
The possibilities are endless.
That's right, so go out there and make it happen.
Good luck.
And thanks for joining us for another deep dive. See you next time. Bye.